All right, so Chad has informed me on some tournaments that are coming up.
Yes.
We have B-Hop Ball in December.
Oh, great. Is that in Chicago?
I am not sure where that is.
Yes, in Chicago.
Renala says yes, it's in Chicago. We have Remix in San Jose in November. Pataka Esports Festival.
I'm not familiar with that.
I'm not familiar with that either. But we do have Bamani Pro League coming up.
We do
across the pond.
We do have Bamani Pro League coming
so
up. If you'd like to participate.
No, but it is very fun to watch. Honestly,
that's true.
if anyone at home, if you have or have not seen Bamani Pro League
so cool.
in previous years, please watch it this year. It's fantastic to see basically DDR breaking out into esports. That is what Bamani Pro League is.
Yes.
Is DDR's first foray into professional esports. So obviously it's Japanese only, but all the arcades kind of have their own team out there, and it's really, really fun to watch.
I'm rooting for CelCat this time around, so that's just my team. I don't know if you've looked at the draft yet.
I have. I am a big fan of Jinyasu, the human metronome, so obviously I have to root for CelCat as well, but I just love watching all of them play.
Nice. Well, we'll see, but yeah, Bamani Pro League is really, really interesting to watch, and the new function that they have of the scores going up the middle, the comparison bars, is really, really cool. And I think that that's something that's being implemented into DDR World that we may be able to take advantage of moving forward.
So I do believe that that function is only available in gold cabs, and because I don't think there's any locations yet in the U.S. that have 2 gold cabs, so you can't really do that simultaneous play just because of that.
Yeah, but that is potentially something that could come in the future, but would be really exciting to see in more tournaments.
All right, so we are getting our next match warmed up here between CelAnima and Flip. First time playing for today in Tier 7. Our Love, pretty good warm-up song.
Oh, yeah, right. These are the people that I need to watch. It's getting to the point of the tournament now where I'm looking at the people who I may potentially be playing in the next hour or two. So I am no longer a neutral party as I commentate. But yeah, these are both profoundly scary players who I would say both have a specialty in uppers MA, which basically just means you're good. But I've seen CelAnima in the last year make so many improvements and strides forward. PFC'd a bunch of new 18s recently, and then Flip has been playing a lot of the new A3 and World charts, and right now has, I think, 105 PFCs on 17s.
Wow.
Out of 115.
That's
so
crazy.
Clearly 17 gold is on his radar in the near future.
Yeah, and both of those are incredibly impressive feats. Like, any 18 PFC is ridiculous, and then that many 17 PFCs, like,
yeah,
we are getting into the top of the top, folks.
Yeah, so both really scary players to be taking a look at. Interestingly, looking at the card draw, their first song is going to be pretty much just an MA check for the two of them.
Yeah, Tenkuu Hana has some gimmicks in there, so if you're not familiar with them, which I imagine at this level both these players are familiar with it, but we shall see.
Yeah, and then London A is going to get a little bit more interesting. That is still, for the most part, an MA check at this level, but there is a pretty strong slowdown, and then the Scooby run at the end. It'd be interesting to see whether they opt to double step, to do a sideways turn, how each of them is going to execute that, but a lot can happen during that ending Scooby run. It is a very long run. But otherwise, London A has like excellent sync. Is mostly straightforward, not too many crossovers. There's one pretty strong crossover out of about 420 steps, and then again that ending run is basically 12 consecutive Scooby crossovers,
which is pretty difficult to do.
It's something to say.
Especially when we look at our tiebreaker song, Digitalizer, which is a much more straightforward 17.
Yeah.
So London A is definitely going to be, I think, kind of the deciding factor here.
Yeah, now Digitalizer has a lot of crossovers, but at 180 BPM, they're only half crossovers. It just goes right down left, or it goes left up right. You don't have to go back and forth.
Sure.
They're really easy to read, easy to anticipate. The song is relatively on sync. And it doesn't have a lot of steps overall, but the quantity of crossovers is pretty high, so whoever has that stronger crossover form and is able to get the Marvelouses on them will be the difference maker if they find themselves the tiebreaker for Digitalizer.
Okay, so moving into Tenkuu no Hana, both these competitors have a PFC on this. CelAnima showing 22 perfect PFC. So again, this song is going to start right away with a slowdown and some little tricky rhythms right off the bat. But it looks like both of them are 100% prepared for that and had no trouble whatsoever getting that started.
Yeah, these are the kinds of MA battles where it's going to come down to 1, 2, 3 points, basically.
Yes, definitely. It's going to come down to who's making mistakes. Okay, so we are heading, in this current tier we're in, Tier 7, we are having 2 players from Tier 7 into the final bracket. And neither one of them giving any room for the other player to pull ahead. They are still just neck and neck. Flawless execution of crossovers from both of them. Again, but great on CelAnima's side, giving Flip some room to pull ahead.
Yeah. All right, so this difference, while not large in terms of how many points you actually see, is the kind where it is almost impossible to imagine Flip letting up.
Yes. You know, once we get to this level of play.
Oh, but there's a great. That's a start.
It really comes down to 1 or 2 mistakes. And when we say mistake, we might mean a great, like, those aren't even really mistakes for most people. But sometimes that's all it really takes in these matches to pull ahead.
Right. A great is essentially 33 milliseconds off of the mean. And that is not a lot of milliseconds.
It is not. Okay, so Flip ever so slightly ahead.
Yep, 6 EX difference. As long as Flip can hold on to this marvelous window like he's doing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing him give anything up.
Yeah, especially after that miss from CelAnima. I think this one thing with the Flip. Wow. Yeah, 13 EX difference.
Really, really, really good performance. We are getting into top tier performances here.
All right. So that 12-1, pretty phenomenal play from Flip and from CelAnima as well. But I am really curious to see London evolve. That is, I think, the kind of the highlight of this set.
I agree, yes.
And like I said, you can see Flip's score right there. He has the PFC, 40 perfects. Crazy. Well, that's London C.
Thankfully, we're just going to the mod menu, so there we go.
And then CelAnima with a 994, which I'm guessing was probably a PFC leading into the ending Scoobies with a couple misses in there. That's definitely
the choke factor of the song.
Yeah, which is frustrating given it's at the very end.
Yes. There is a pretty significant slowdown in London A. It's not displayed in the BPM range because all the London A's show 170 to 340. But London A actually goes down to, I think it's is it half of 170 or a quarter of 170?
Quarter.
Quarter. Yeah, so it gets really slow in the middle.
I think.
Okay, I imagine both these players are very familiar with that, so I don't think that part will trip them up too much. CelAnima taking a great right off the bat there once we speed up.
Yeah, this song is a lot jumpier than people give it credit for, and there's also this really interesting jump that comes right here that looks like Flip really nailed. That is a tricky jump to get a perfect or marvelous on, but they both hit that. I guess CelAnima had a great earlier on than that, but they are both just within 1 EX of each other right now. Little back and forth trades, a couple perfects here and there. But CelAnima with the miss, actually, it's giving Flip a 6 EX lead.
Flip picking up a couple extra perfects, giving CelAnima some room to catch up.
Yep. Both getting a couple fasts on this slowdown as well, which is very easy to do.
Speed right back up here.
All right, and then we've got that crossover coming up in about 40 steps, so we're going to see Flip can keep the gold combo through that crossover. Nails it.
Yeah, so Flip up by 15 right now into the slowdown.
Each of them opting to go step after each of those 2 steps rather than before, which is an interesting technique. Flip getting his first straight, but here we come. The song is going to be over before you know it. It's just one last long run. Anything can happen here.
Oh, and those Scoobies are coming up. Near flawless execution from Flip.
My goodness, they both comboed the Scoobies.
Arguably the hardest part of the song.
I don't even think you need to argue.
All right, Flip's going to take that with about a 30 EX lead.
62 perfects and 3 greats. 997 to pull off a 997 in tournament.
Really, really amazing performance. It did, no bar Ben, yeah. It did actually look like they double stepped them. I didn't get a clear shot of their feet from where I was sitting, but
CelAnima did the crossovers. I didn't see. I think Flip might have double stepped, but CelAnima I saw did the crossovers.
Okay, I didn't see like hip rotation. I couldn't see the feet, but I'm assuming based on the hips that there was no crossing
Yeah.
over
So one thing to know
side.
about both these players, but in particular something CelAnima is known for, is really tight form.
Yeah.
So when he's doing that, you can't even like if
You
you're
can't even tell.
Yeah, you can't tell in the upper half of his body. Whereas if I'm doing it, I'm like one arm off and like
Right.
waving, I'm like a windmill kind of thing, the Kevin Bodie strategy, windmill arm. But yeah, he really just he's so locked in, really strong, like literally physically strong player as well, able to like
Definitely.
hold that core.
Okay, next matchup, Misuc and HINTZ. I feel like this is going to be really close to
Oh
call
my god,
battle.
this is going to be great. So as
Yeah.
we know, we're not sleeping on Misuc
Oh,
anymore.
absolutely not.
And HINTZ was doing the pad test yesterday, and just like took his jacket off, stood up, did Windy Fairy 15, got 10 perfect.
Yeah, just casually.
So I mean, what even is there to say about it? 10 perfects on Windy Fairy, cold, for a pad test. I'd be very afraid if I were anyone,
Yes.
but Misuc is the kind of person who, now that, like we said, fought for this Tier 7 promotion, is here to really prove himself.
Absolutely. But yeah, both these players really, really good at MA, and honestly, I'm not too sure on Misuc's performance on upper level stuff, but I know HINTZ performs really, really well on uppers, so I'm curious to see what their match is going to be.
Yeah, and it looks like HINTZ has like a really good breadth of coverage on all these songs. As you scroll down, you're seeing PFCs, GFCs. It's pretty much played every song.
Yes.
And has like a really strong foundation on them.
Very knowledgeable player for sure.
That's one thing to keep an eye out for a player, is that when you open up and you can see what their lamps are, it kind of indicates something to you about what their knowledge level is. And oh my gosh, this one of the hardest 16s, depending on your strengths, could be one of the hardest 16s.
Sure. Really good choice though for a warm up though. Taking a look at the songs they have coming up, pretty smart to play a song that's faster, slightly faster, to really get your legs moving.
Yeah, we have a 200 BPM song coming up in a Ranker Killer Girl, which known for its crossovers and skippity paps.
Yes.
But if you're doing 220, while this doesn't have crossovers per se, it is just like fast movement, so it'll get your legs going and ready for those 200 BPM crossovers.
All right, and Misuc, having already played today, looks like he's opting to play the difficult chart. He's already been kind of warmed up, so he's probably trying to conserve energy for the next few songs, whereas HINTZ really needs to get his body moving and ready. Another really good Soundville Text crossover. This song's always been a lot of fun. I love all the sampling that it does.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
The Homer Simpson. Oh!
yeah. That, the section where it's just like jump, step, jump, all the random sounds it throws in, so great.
And this part's actually really difficult to execute.
It is. It's something where you kind of have to be doing foot switches, but you can't do perfect foot switches, so you'll have to do a jack into a foot switch.
That's actually a really, really difficult pattern. I don't know too many songs that do that.
So lots of great sample sounds come out of this section here.
Yeah, you got the telephone ring, Homer Simpson.
Yeah, I recommend listening to this with headphones at some point.
Or we can just listen to acapella Duncan.
You could tell that was me? Oh, I thought it was so perfect. It was just seamless.
I mean, it was, but.
And I'm seeing the foot switches coming out of HINTZ. For a moment, I forgot that this was a warm-up, and I was like, wait, Misuc is just jumping.
All right, very smart warm-up song, I think, for what's coming.
Yeah, and then so London B, we just saw London A. London B plays very differently. The first 444 steps are the same, but then after that, it actually changes the speed. It's the only London that has an increased speed up to 210 BPM or 420, which it then gives you very fast drills on. Some people think that's the hardest London just because of that speed. It is definitely the easiest in terms of the pattern, but that 210 drill at the end of a very tiring song is really tough to land.
Definitely.
So I'm going to be excited to see if they can hold on tight all the way through the end of London B, especially after playing Ranker Killer.
Yes. So you see this is Misuc's pick. One of the KEC songs from, what year would this have been?
2018?
I felt like it was after 2020.
2020?
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Either way, lots of very fast crossovers in this, kind of the hallmark of this song. not a lot of steps overall for
True.
17.
True.
I want to say it's
600 some.
yeah, maybe 600 tops. Might even be in the upper 500s or low 600s.
This like bass drum at the beginning gets you so excited.
Yeah, really hype song. This is one of my favorite KAC songs.
And that pattern right there, that 1, 2, 3 jump, 1, 2, 3 jump, very hard to time.
Yes.
Both nailing the step jumps too.
Yeah, both really locked in. HINTZ only up by 3 right now, even though he's got the grade.
Another triplet then jump. So here we're coming into the course and we get to see some of the crossovers. First, they're just going to be initial crossovers for our first run of this course, but when it comes back the second time is when you're going to see things really start to heat up with the skippy paps crossing over and then recrossing back across the body.
Yeah, watching they both have very clean crossover form. HINTZ very tight crossover form too.
And you can hear the basketball squeak.
Yes.
This section, don't sleep on.
No. HINTZ picked up a miss there, but still quite ahead of Misuc, so we'll see if he can hold on to that lead.
Yep, if HINTZ can hold on to these tougher crossovers that go back and forth across the body, sometimes people get really tripped up and they lose their footing entirely and they might pick up a couple misses, a good or two.
Yeah.
Oh, double stepping out of HINTZ, actually doing a heel toe strategy, but we're seeing true form out of Misuc, but looks like it's still working out for HINTZ.
Yeah, so HINTZ still up 30 coming into the ending here. All right, just some 8th notes here. You can probably double step this to conserve some energy if you need to. But then you got these step jumps and then these last little 16th bursts.
And then 1, 2, little Scooby.
All right, HINTZ is going to take that one. Looks like that warm-up and panic Holic really worked in his favor.
989, almost tripling that on command.
Oh, I just noticed we have 2 KAC songs in the song draw.
Oh yeah, Be a
Hero. Okay, so another London Evolve, this Duncan was talking about earlier, this one going up to 420 BPM.
Yes, it does not tell you that on the BPM display.
No, it does not. It does in World, though.
It does in World. That's right.
Very interesting choice that they decided to make after all these years to finally show you the accurate speed for a lot of these songs.
Yeah. Every once in a while, it actually trips you up, though.
Definitely.
If there is a jump scare where it's just one note, and then you might build your whole BPM around that jump scare.
So definitely a double-edged sword. You know, some people liked having the knowledge, esoteric knowledge of just knowing which songs had speed changes, even if they weren't displayed. And now it almost makes you second-guess yourself the fact that it does display every single speed change. You're like, well, it's actually something I need to account for when I'm selecting the speed mod.
And so HINTZ with a 996 on this for a personal best. So I think that's another instance of potentially a PFC all the way up through that final drill and then maybe picking up a couple grades.
All right, so London, similar to a few other different Evolves, is going to have identical first part of the song for all 3 of them.
Yeah, up through the first 450 steps, there's going to be a stop, holding onto a freeze arrow, and that is where the deviation from the last London will begin. A lot more steps in this London. London A is much shorter and burstier. This one is the longest of them probably, although not as stamina intensive as London C, which is very crossover heavy.
Yes.
This one gives you like a little break for a bit, and then a very strange ending freeze arrow section.
Yeah, I feel like musically the second half of London B just doesn't fit with the first half either.
Yeah, it is jarring for sure.
All right, but HINTZ still got a pretty good lead, but Misuc is not far behind, and there's still a lot of song to go.
About 10EX.
Yeah, HINTZ not giving any errors for Misuc to work with.
Oh, HINTZ nailed the speed change.
Both of them very comfortable with this chart, and it's showing. But you have these really quick bursts here at the end.
Oh my gosh, HINTZ got through that first, still with the PFC. It's all going to come down to
Misuc
this.
is gonna take off and let HINTZ have this.
Let's see how HINTZ does with this final drill. It's really fast.
Oh.
Yeah, he thought I'd try it, but
it's still really, really
yeah,
good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, even Misuc realized like HINTZ is taken away with this. I'm going to let him have it.
Yeah, a smart move.
Yeah, really, really good job to both of them. Those are tricky charts.
All right, amazing play from those. Very exciting. Now it is my time to take a step off. I'm going to go prepare for when I'll be playing in a little while. So I'm going to hand you over to Jamaro. And I think, are you staying on?
I am.
All right.
But
so
it's been fun.
Yeah, so it has been fun, Kim. It's been a good 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing your matches, so good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Be kind to me.
We will.
All right, take care, everybody.
You were talking about how Cleveland and Pittsburgh, how they're so similar as cities.
Yeah.
Like, we as much as we hate each other, we're kind of sister cities, we're sibling cities in a way, because historically we were both part of like what's called the Rust Belt.
Yes. Yeah.
Steel. Like steel was like one of the big industries. It still is here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And it used to be in Cleveland. And it's just like, you know, in these two cities, you meet like people who are just like real salt of the earth, like real blue collar people that.
It's really the hallmark, really the backbone of cities like this.
Yeah, and you know, it's just like, and I just like, man, DDR, like if we can come here and like have like all these dope matches with people just like from the area, putting up crazy scores, you know, from the coast. And it's mostly just, we're just kind of down to most of the people that are in like the Northeast and here, like the real kind of like working class of America. Like DDR is for the people, man. This is for you. This is some DDR for the people right now.
And honestly, what's really cool, if you've never been to this location before, so we're in Pittsburgh right now at the Dave & Buster's down on the waterfront.
Yeah.
The waterfront is kind of like an outdoor mall area, but it's really surrounded by really like the Rust Belt roots. Like you can see all the bridges. We're underneath a big bridge. You can see factories all along the river. So it's really just kind of blended in with that culture, you know. You have all these steel mills that are still in existence. So it's really cool just seeing the mishmash of different things and different ways of living.
Yeah, even this plaza was built on like remnants of like a factory. Like right as soon as you get to the entrance of it, there's just giant smokestacks that are remaining from the old factory. So we have HINTZ and Cel. Cel just going down 2-0 to flip. I talked with him about that before I came up, and he was just saying like, yeah, you know what? The last time we played, he got me, so you know this is revenge, so to speak, for that last time. And they've both already had their sets, so we are going to start off with Spanish Snowy Dance Challenge.
All right, just jumping straight into it with Spanish Snowy Dance. This is a very tricky chart.
Yeah, recently, not too long ago, I posted a big, massive thread on Twitter. That was the question was, what are some charts in your respective music games that have a little bit of everything, that are good like skill tests? And Spanish Snowy Dance was my choice.
Definitely.
All the difficulties have a little bit of something. You start off with these 24th right there.
And listen to how crisp that was. That was
yeah,
so
both
crisp.
of them nailed it. Super nailed it right now. Then you have these little jack sections, these step jumps that are coming up, and then the burst. And it really challenges a lot of like your upper level knowledge and just like your ability to not play so stiff. You can't have a static play style and hate your song. Something's going to trip you up along the way.
Definitely.
So as we look at the score right now, they are within a few points of each other. Ooh, and HINTZ picked up a couple of greats and some misses right there, which lets Cel go ahead and widen the gap quite a bit. Now up by about 40 EX.
And what's really interesting, this part that's coming up here, it's fairly similar to the expert chart, but it has you do these double taps on, I think, left, right, instead of up, down. So you can actually choose to either jack them or do a side switch. Yeah, and that's this part coming up here on this 12th note run.
And you can see the difference in their approaches. You see HINTZ playing more of the static double stepping style right there, and Cel taking the full movement and actually doing kind of the crossovers on that.
And these part with these jumps in that stream are so hard to execute. Cel with the lead, but he's not really giving anything up for HINTZ to catch up to him.
Yeah, HINTZ really well known for his MA and his accuracy as a player. Unfortunately, just like that part that he really clubbed on really early gave Cel like a wide burst to work with. So the ball is kind of in Cel's court right now to kind of hold on to this. There's not too much more song left.
No, we're getting really close to the end here.
All right. And I think Cel's going to go ahead and take this one. Yes.
All right.
2180 to 2138.
And that is a tricky, tricky chart. So good job to both of them.
74-7, one good and a miss for Cell.
All right, so next up, we're doing a little bit of a stamina check with Elemental Creation. This is HINTZ's pick.
Yep.
So I know HINTZ is no stranger to uppers, and looking at their scores,
He has a 40 perfect PFC on the 17.
yeah, ooh, this is gonna be another really close one.
But Cell actually not too far behind. You know, this is older data, so I'm sure that the scores are different, especially on Cell's side. But if you were to take it at face value, not too bad. Like 99.8 is still pretty good. That makes me think, because that's got to be 20. So like, there's probably like some goods that were probably in there,
Sure.
like a good or a great.
And Elemental Creation, kind of were the original stamina check songs. Nothing too tricky on the expert chart in terms of footing, other than just speed. But one thing to keep in mind, this chart is actually on the later side, so being that fast at 424 BPM and also kind of late, it's always tricky to hone into.
All right, we see them taking a little bit of a breather. You could tell off of that first set, after playing Flip, Cell was definitely a little bit wiped on that, so I'm sure he is happy to take any breaks of any kind.
Definitely. It looks like Kitty Catastrophe is saying that it's 60 and a flag, I'm assuming in reference to CelAnima's score on this.
Yes, that's about right. All right, well, while they get ready to take their time, breathe a little bit, thank you everyone for tuning in and locking in. Y'all have been kicking it with us for quite a while all morning. We're going to keep the magic going for you all for the rest of the day on this Sunday finals, aka Sport Coat Sunday.
Yeah, and it's a gorgeous day out there today.
It is. It's gorgeous, and it's like that final summer heat.
The final breath of summer.
Yes, as it's 85. It's about 80 degrees outside.
Is it really?
Yeah. But you get the backdrop of the beautiful fall. So here we go, y'all. And we're going to go ahead and get to the speed up. HINTZ picking up a great pretty early on. But still within about 9 points of Sal. This is Elemental Creation, a song that is pretty dense in itself.
Yes.
And we do have a slowdown, so 9 points is still within striking distance of HINTZ.
Yeah, you can see
And
both
you
these-
see it right there. And now he's caught right back up. Looks like Cell let a little too many perfects go. And as we were talking about before, HINTZ really well known for his MA when it really comes down to it, in a specific set of songs.
It looks like Cell picked up a little bit of a lead there, and they're like trading back and forth. Yeah, now HINTZ back up in the lead.
All right, we're going to come into the slowdown. All right, 3-point difference. And we're going to get to this next BPM change right here. All right, this is I guess if you want to call it anything, this is the breath. This is your time to kind of reorient yourself, but you can't slack.
No.
It's really easy to rush this part right here.
Yeah, do not let your guard down during this part. Okay, so Cell with a very slight lead over HINTZ.
6 points.
A lot can happen in the rest of this.
All right, eyes open, chat. Let's go. Let's see what happens. Speed up still taking a little bit of a lead right now. Now it's actually lose time. Cell picking up a great.
Ooh, and HINTZ is just really dialed into the Marvelous window, too.
Yeah, he took advantage of that, so now HINTZ is in the lead.
Oh, it's Cell taking a miss over on their side. That may cost them. Oh, yeah, HINTZ pulling away with that lead. And I think he's going to hold on to that.
All right.
Oh, and he can take a win for HINTZ.
23-63, 24-7 for Cell. 73-5-1 from Cell. 57-1-1. With the perfect timing, 29-29 fast slow for HINTZ. So really locked in on that one. And as I said, like he took advantage of just the slipping of all the perfects that were coming out from Cell.
Definitely.
It's like, death by 1,000 cuts, so to speak.
All right, so now we're shifting gears a little bit to Chronos. And this is actually an interesting song for these two because the chart itself isn't difficult for this caliber level of players. The sync is a little weird to tune into, so it's really going to come down to MA for both of them. And you can see their scores right now are extremely similar. Yeah, so 18 perfect PFC right now on HINTZ's side and 20 perfect PFC on CelAnima's side. Whether or not those are the most current scores, I don't know, but I imagine this is going to be an extremely close song.
Yeah, it's going to come down to whoever can kind of like, I mean, they both have the experience with that. As you see, they're two great different. So their knowledge and their skill set of this song is identical, essentially. It's just going to be whoever locks into that window fastest.
Yes. And this being one of those songs that's primarily guitar-driven can be a little harder to tune into the sync, but again, as we see on their scores, neither one of these players seem to have an issue with that. All right, both players trying to catch their breath after that stamina draining chart of elemental creation and jumping right into Chronos. Battle of the MA on this one.
All right, 3-point difference in favor of HINTZ right now.
CelAnima having a little bit of a difficulty honing in onto the sync of this, which, again, the sync on this chart is pretty weird. It's not super clear.
All right. Both of them now fully seem to be dialed into that Marvelous window. It's getting white combos kind of out of both of them. So only picking up one at that part.
Yeah, still getting a little bit more locked in with the sync, but HINTZ still a little bit ahead of him. You know, when we get to this caliber level of play, it's almost like you're waiting for your competitor to make a mistake, but mistakes happen so infrequently at this level that you might not get that.
Well, it's still about 3 points between the two of them.
And the MA that these players are locked into in this song is crazy. Oh, HINTZ is only at 4 right now.
All right, 5 point as they get a break. All right, and finding that Marvel in this window right back with their ghost step. HINTZ picking up one perfect.
Oh, great over on CelAnima's side.
Oh, and that gave quite a window. All right, still just about 4 point difference.
Both nailing that little Scooby section there.
Yeah.
Oh,
and Cel! Oh! Cel took advantage.
They were tied 10 steps from the end.
He took advantage of that string of perfects that he got right at the end.
They were tied, and then CelAnima won by 1.
Oh, you see HINTZ just kind of.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
We have another match being decided by 1 EX.
Absolutely brazy.
That's the 3rd time that's happened so far today.
That was the thing about Chronos. Chronos is, on my arbitrary scale of offset, Chronos is gently late.
It is, yes.
It's barely late. Like, I like to use hard brain as like my reference point on final offset. It's like 3 1/3 milliseconds. It's like perfectly gently late. But that's enough that, in that gap between that last stream right there, you can kind of like let yourself go. And that's enough for you to kind of lose your focus a little bit.
Right, especially if you're getting excited, you're near the end, it's really easy to rush something.
Yeah, he had a string of perfects right there. And that was enough.
Yeah, and sometimes that's all that matters. The most notable moment for me that just lives in my brain forever is Upbeat. If any of y'all were watching that, there was a match between Mark QQQ and I can't remember who he was playing now, but it was Paranoia Revolution Expert, and Mark was down 1 or 2 right before the ending run, and then he just MFC'd the ending and ended up winning by 1 or 2, and that moment is just
it was
prime
the perfect
example
clutch. I remember that.
Of just like really being able to nail a section is sometimes all it takes to really pull ahead, just those couple EX that you need.
All right, but let's take a look at this card draw. It's mighty interesting. So we talked about in the past, the contentious 16 in terms of its timing. But then you have Trip Machine Evolution.
Oh.
a technical 16 that was Flip's Protect, and then, you know, Saberwing Akira Headshot Remix Challenge, a chart that we've seen plenty of this entire weekend.
So with these first two songs, we're going from arguably one of the easiest 16s to one of the hardest 16s.
Yes, on both sides of the coin.
So I do have to imagine that they're probably happy that they're playing it in this order. I know both these players have already played so far, so they're not getting a warm-up, but they've been sitting for a little bit, so they're not completely fresh. So having the song to kind of ease back into it is probably going to benefit both of them.
Yeah, and you talk about Misuc, who played in a previous poll and just stunned everybody, including his own brother, watching. Said, "I didn't know he was this good. When did this come from?" But Misuc looking very confident.
Yeah, Flip picking up a couple perfects in the beginning here. As we mentioned before, this song did have their sync adjusted on GDR World. So whether or not these players have played it on the most recent version or not, that could potentially mess with them if they're used to one sync versus the pre-World sync. But it doesn't look like either of them are having any issues with it. They're still staying pretty neck and neck.
Yeah, so 1 point. They maintain that difference as they MA the stream part right there. So one of my favorite parts of the song, this is kind of where you can redial in back your timing, and you just slowly build it back up until you get into the breakdown section, in which, and I like to say to people who are playing this for the first time, this is where the real 16 is.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, Flip ahead by 2 at the breakdown.
Misuc picking up a few marvelouses, or I'm sorry, 2 perfects. Giving Flips the room to pull ahead just ever so slightly, but it's still super close. I don't think Flip is giving Misuc any room to catch back up.
Yeah, there's not much left in this song. It's all kind of quarter notes from here. So as long as Flip just doesn't walk off the pad, Flip is going to go ahead and take this. 1492, 1477, PFC on both sides. Let's go, folks. 32 from Misuc and 17 from Flip.
It's always crazy to me when, like, a PFC on a song is still not the winning score. Like, they both PFC'd that with really good MA.
See,
sometimes that's not enough.
That's unfortunately our senile boomer brains going. In my day, the best you could do was an all-perfect.
Right? We didn't have marvelouses back in our day.
What is that? Challenge course?
All right, so shifting gears to Shrimp Machine Evolution. This is a tricky 16.
Tricky indeed.
Very interested to see how they do in this. Flip looks like does have a PFC in this. Not sure what Misuc's score is, but they are both ready for that first stop. First note, which starts immediately.
Yeah, unfortunately, Misuc picking up a great. They both nailed it, so the chart knowledge is there on both of them. Starting off with the gallops into the step jump. Both of them making masterwork of this as we are actually tied.
And songs have a lot of step jumps, which make it really tricky. Misuc getting a miss there pretty early on.
But his MA is so good that he's only down by 1 point right now.
Oh, and this part right here, this part is so hard.
And Flip only picking up about 4 perfects during that whole section, which has given him a nice gain in the lead of about 10 right now. Well, about 15 now at this point.
So Misuc, without playing with the darkest filter on, I noticed on this background in particular, because there's so much going on, it actually was kind of difficult to read his side.
On the step jumps into the drills.
Oh, both of them are just nailing this section. Oh, a couple misses on Misuc's side. Oh, and I think Misuc realizes that he doesn't have it.
Yeah, good call. You know, you can see that upper level pull exit, you know, Tack kind of taking gain on him.
Yeah. It is really interesting. I haven't had to think about it in so long because most people play with darkest filter on, but just watching Misuc's side against the crazy background that is Shrimp Machine Evolution, that was difficult for me to read.
Yeah.
And I do wonder if that affected him at all.
I mean, it's you would imagine, right, that, you know, you don't just simply decide one day to go in reverse from like darkest to lightest.
Also, I'm sorry, but can we just point out the 27 and 1 that Flip just got on that song? That is insane.
He came to play, man. So, beautiful producer Rana, how are you enjoying all this DDR for the people this
I
weekend?
am having a great time. I was actually incredibly impressed with Misuc's showing. Misuc promoted up from the previous pool, and no disrespect to anybody in Tier 6, but Tier 7 is, I don't want to play in this pool.
I
don't want to play any of these
I
people.
said, in chat, I think I used the word, when describing this on my way back. This is a diabolical pool.
Yeah, it's, not going to lie, terrifying.
It is scary. So, we are going to have Flip stay on the pad, and he's going to go up against HINTZ, who as we just witnessed, barely got beaten out on Chronos.
Oh my god, and it was on one of those last steps, that yellow jump, he just rushed it. That's just so harsh.
Yeah.
And you could see how, afterwards, he had to take a short little walk about 10 feet away because you could see he was so mad at himself for getting that perfect.
I mean, understandable, right? Like, you were so dialed in, you were winning the entire song. And it was just that you threw away some perfects on the stream right before those jumps. And then,
Yeah, and then thinking at the end, okay, I got to lock in. Extremely opposite of locked in.
All right, speaking of locked in, we have Life is Beautiful. Both players, 2 perfects away on their PFCs on this card on these accounts. So we're going to have another nail biter. Flip has been looking in peak form today. Just beating Mizu, 2-0 in Cell. Looking as the dominant one in this pool. HINTZ could be motivated. Some people, they like to process. They like to process the adversities in front of them in different ways. So this could be a power. This could be a boost for HINTZ right now.
Yeah, this might be the motivation he needs. The second song coming, though, is Egoism, which
it is.
I don't
That is a
know
song.
how much HINTZ is playing Egoism, but I do know that's the type of thing Flip likes to play.
And compared to what was left in the pool, PSMO and
Super Summer Sale,
Flip said, nah, this one.
Yeah.
All right, and so far it looks like right now only one perfect. HINTZ did get a perfect early on. As we go into the 100 combo, Flip still holding on to that white combo. Still one perfect between them. HINTZ picked up another perfect, so just 2 points right now. And we are now effectively tied.
Yeah, honestly, until around the end of the song, I won't be surprised if they've got less than 15 perfects between them.
Oh, and you hear a little extra English being put on that for timing from Flip.
Yeah, he wanted to make sure he hit it on time. It's real easy when you're doing a crossover trying to hit something just with the edge of your toes to get there a little late, not apply exactly as much pressure as you need to.
Exactly. So as we start to come into this stream section now, this is where we are going to start to see, if any, by both the players, we're going to start to see some random perfects.
Yep, just one off here, one off there. Not too many, though.
Yeah, both of them are, planning ahead. They're anticipating it. Flip did pick up one perfect as we go into the freeze kind of break section right now.
Yeah, HINTZ picked up a few more, but he's still only down 5. That's something that all you got to do is start one run a little bit wrong, and the other person's right back in it.
And that's going to definitely come into play as we exit this freeze section in just a little bit into the final run.
3.
All right, here we go. Let's see if the score changes. All right, and this one coming up, we're going to have the crossover. Ooh! Flip takes it with 9 perfects to HINTZ's 12.
And HINTZ only picked up 1 in the entire ending.
It was well played by both, but that just shows where we're at right now. That not only do they come to 3 perfects, but it's going to be an SDP range if you're going to want to take this.
Yeah, exactly. That was. I get the feeling that that was probably the one that HINTZ really knew he needed so he could try to get to the tiebreaker.
Yeah, because the differential's not going to be as close, so to speak.
Although looking at their PBs, I don't know how recent this score is for Flip, but I know that this is definitely not recent for HINTZ.
As he does have a full combo
And
on
yeah,
this.
and up by about 40K. So maybe I got this backwards.
Yeah, I mean, so for this, I'm gonna call recency bias on this one. You know, this is definitely an older account because you wouldn't protect this
Yeah, exactly.
knowing that I only have a 94.
And everybody in chat, Amber and Nobar Ben saying this is definitely not
Yeah,
a recent
like
score for
this
Flip.
is-
Yeah.
You would not protect this on purpose at this level without having this down.
Yeah, like I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, nowadays, if that's the score that Flip has on the challenge chart.
All
Remember
right.
when this was rated a 17?
We don't talk about those times. But what we are going to talk about is Flip coming out right out the gate. Hitting 75, still with the PFC.
Yep.
Art being made right now. Love to hear this. But you do see Andrew locking right back into his window right there. Picking up only one grade. Despite the miss that he had on.
Flip with a PFC going into the slowdown.
All right, Flip breaking 900 EX. All right, and
Picking up 2 in the I don't even know what to call that part.
all right, and
But he's only up about 24.
yeah, HINTZ doing a good job. The only perks that he was picking up in there, he was rushing those bursts in the slowdown just a little bit.
I mean, all it takes here is to just not move enough and stream some misses.
Oh, and
Like both of them
HINTZ.
did.
Yeah, yeah.
Both of them picked up some misses, but Flip takes it by almost 50 or almost 60.
1774 coming out of Flip.
Yeah, yeah,
17-18.
that's a little bit better than the 946.
A little bit, just a tad, just a touch.
15 and 2.
That's impressive.
That's
So-
good. That's real good.
All right, so good games to both players. Flip dominating that pool 2-0 on all 3 of his matches. All right, so actually next up we are going to have Misuc versus Cel.
Mm-hmm.
And as we look, as I'm peeking at this card draw, you'll get to see, you know, a little bit more as to like what the decisions behind this were.
Yeah, so here we go.
We're going to start off with I Love You Expert, another phase challenge, and tiebreaker. If it does come down to it, triple journey challenge.
Yeah, and CelAnima did not want to play Holic, and Misuc did not want to play Delta Max Challenge, and I agree with both of those decisions.
That's yes. I could probably see a little bit more of the logic from Cel. You know, Holic being very jumpy. That's a word that I would like to use to
It's
describe
just
that song.
awkward.
So that might not be. And as we were saying earlier on, noticing that Cel, you know, really was throwing his all into his matches and definitely feeling some of the stamina on that. You know, got a little bit of a break as I see over there. He's going to go ahead and line back up with Misuc, but yeah, that's Holic is one of those charts that it's deceptive as to how it drains you because you kind of have to, if you're going to be doing that many step jumps, you kind of have to change like how you use your form, how you use your weight to hit some of that stuff, and that's exhausting in its own way. All right, and Big Mac giving me the I love you balloon. Showing his fandom.
Yeah, Misuc looks like he's just trying to focus. He's trying to like get in the right headspace.
Oh yeah, you see, he's trying to lock back in. He knows what he's getting into.
That was a great look. Like he looked at HINTZ and then looked back at the camera and he just had this look on his face of like, I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to focus.
Sir, please.
Or not a HINTZ, Big Mac. Wrong
Big Mac.
person. It's getting warm in here today.
To be fair, it is 80 degrees outside.
It sure is. Extremely October weather.
That's right. When you used to bob for apples as a kid
You could go swimming.
and go on your hay rides, you were also like, man, I need to make sure I put on some SPF 50 today. Those were hand in hand.
Oh yeah, you're right. They are basically wearing the same outfit, just slightly different colors. CelAnima's got like dark blue shorts instead of black. And I think his shirt is a little bit darker.
That might be some DDR fashion tech. Maybe the gray tee, the gray fitness tee might be the new match crop top tech from the ITGP.
Nah.
I love the immediate disgusting sandbag from you on that one. All right, here we go. Let's lock in. All right, Misuc picking up a perfect on the first step. CelAnima finally breaking that NFC, so they are separated by about 3 points right now, and a straight great right there. But still maintaining the lead.
Yeah, not by much. Only about 10. But it's really going to come down to executing all the turns in this, or double stepping to avoid them.
Yeah, Cell definitely being a player who tends to lean more into his crossover, as we were seeing earlier on. So it's going to be very curious to see how Misuc handles that same section. All right, also choosing the
turn.
crossovers, other turns.
CelAnima picked up a miss in one of them.
Still maintaining the lead.
He's up by about 25.
All right, it looks like Misuc still kind of struggling to find just where to be on the side of that window. He's picking up some change of rates. Down by about 25 right now. And finally picks up his first miss at about 475.
First great.
First great, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but CelAnima wasn't really gaining any ground. Like, wasn't really putting too much distance between them. He's still only up about not quite 30.
But as you see with this white combo, he's also not really giving Misuc anything to work with. Not really giving anything away at all.
Yeah, pretty much just maintaining his lead the whole time.
And
take it by 43.
Yeah. 20-36 from Cell. 33-2, 1 miss to 75-4 on the side of Misuc, full combo. 1993, that was a good year. It was a great year, great year.
What was it?
It was a great year.
It was a year.
It was a year. First grade, man. First grade is a fun grade to be going into because you're like, I'm no longer a baby in elementary school, despite the fact that every adult will look at you like, oh, you're still a baby.
Because you are still a baby.
You don't know anything.
I am going to assume that Misuc has played this.
I would be surprised.
For his sake, I hope he has, although 28 PFC from CelAnima
is
pretty
good.
Difficult.
Yeah.
Very difficult to beat.
All right, here we go. Cell looking to go up 2-0. And Misuc picking up a good. But Cell picking up
a shock. I'll take a good over a shock.
And Misuc picking up a miss.
Yeah, Cell's already up about 50.
Yeah, this was Cell's pick, protect. So this is working out in his favor. So there may have been a little bit of player knowledge that he had going into this.
I mean, if you've got a 28 perfect PFC, if you've got any PFC on another phase challenge prior to the shock arrow change, yeah, that's a reliable tournament pick. up 60 at the stop.
And Misuc picking up another miss right there.
Yeah, it's just so hard to balance avoiding the shocks with still hitting those arrows, especially ones right before it.
Yeah, especially on this song, depending on like if you're a pretty minimal player, you know, you tend to play the corners. It's really easy just to just to unintentionally trigger those shock arrows. You're trying to use your ankles or like the edge of your heel. Just to lift. Yeah,
you see what he had?
What?
15, a great, and 4 shots.
Well, sir.
What?
Brother.
What?
Absolutely
15?
crazy.